Welcome. It's absolutely brilliant to be here today. Secrets and rules for attracting what you want is basically everything that I've ever learned that works, that helps you to purposely think about something and attract it into your life. So like the law of attraction. The law of attraction loosely means you attract what you think about most of the time. So if you're thinking about the same thing over and over again, then by the law of attraction you would tend to attract that or something very similar into your life. So I'm going to go through, talk about some really powerful strategies, techniques, tools you can actually use that I practically use in my own life. And that's why I think you can only ever talk from experience with intensity. And so I like to speak from my own personal experience. So these are things that I've learned that really, really, really work. And they're actually quite fun to put into practice, as you'll notice. But first of all, what I also wanted to cover for the first maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes or so was I've noticed in life that sometimes stuff just happens. You ever noticed that? Yeah? Sometimes stuff just happens that doesn't seem to have any bearing on what you're thinking about or what you've been thinking about or any bearing on even what your deep beliefs about life, yourself and the world are. I call these forces that cause things to happen forces of destiny. And it's like forces that operate much deeper, at a much deeper level, not necessarily a more powerful level, just at a much deeper level, like an undercurrent in life that sometimes steers us to the left or the right for no apparent reason. And that's why sometimes stuff just seems to happen that doesn't seem to relate to what you've been thinking about a lot. Most of the time things that do happen are related to what you're thinking about, but this is sometimes it doesn't work that way. And the reason why I talk about this is I've noticed so many people in the world suffering because you blame yourself for all the bad stuff in life. And this is a way of saying, well, it's not all your fault. It's not always your fault. You know, of course, we do attract events, we do create events through our own thinking, whether it's positive, negative thinking, whatever we're thinking about. But sometimes stuff just happens. And this is where the forces of destiny come into play. And I guess the way I like to describe it is if you imagine you're sitting in a canoe in a big wide river. And the law of attraction, the ability you have to focus on something and attract it into your life is like having a paddle. So if you want, you can paddle to the left, or you can paddle to the right, or you can go forwards, you can go backwards, you can even paddle round in a circle, which most people do in their life, go round and round in the same kind of circle. If you want to do that, you can round in a circle as much as you like. But see, if you stop paddling, you'll notice that you're not staying still. The river has a current, and not all the currents are going in the same direction. If you sit still, your boat will maybe start to drift off to the right.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?